Did you know project managers spend up to 90% of their time communicating, and that over half of all project failures are linked to poor communication? I'm Leonie McCarthy, and after years of working with teams and leaders on complex projects, I've learned that communication isn't just about talking. It's about how you engage, listen, and create space for real input at every level of your project. You might have read this book, Surrounded by Idiots, by Thomas Erickson. What I found most useful is the reminder that every team member hears and shares information differently. Frameworks like Erickson's remind us that when we craft communication with all the different types, the red, blue, and yellow and green, and the layers in our project in mind, we massively increase the chances of landing our project's message. In this episode, I'll share 5 essential questions every project manager should answer, and some communication mistakes we all want to try and avoid, and how real listening, not just talking, can build the momentum your project needs to succeed. Let's get into it. Every effective communication plan starts with clarity, but it's not one size fits all. Think about sort of 3 main layers in your project. Team. A team needs daily detail, two-way feedback, transparency of quickly getting through information. Stakeholders, they need context and clarity. They need relevant communication and how this impacts them. Boards and sponsors and governance people, they want concise, high-level progress updates, risks and key decisions highlighted for them. So, before you send a single message to anyone, here are 5 questions that you should consider. What's the purpose of the project or this particular communication? Who needs to know what, when, and why? What are the preferred methods and channels for each group or individual? How will you know if the message has landed? What's the escalation path when things go off track or there are follow-up questions and points to clarify? Ideally, at the start of a project, we all come together in person and spend some time working on our shared purpose and clarifying our success measures as well as the way we'll communicate. When a project involves multiple teams across different locations and time zones, this is not always possible. So, what are the communication mistakes we often make? The biggest mistake that we all make in life is assuming that other people agree with us. This is true in projects too. Assuming alignment. There are multiple ways that this one can come unstuck. The team might be clear, but maybe stakeholders or sponsors are not on the same page. You might have vendors or partners that don't have the same understanding of the project that you do. Making space in project meetings for regular clarification of next steps, who's doing what, keep you on track at the project level. And regular status updates circulated to stakeholders keeps them in the loop, and consistent governance sessions with a board or steering committee help to manage expectations. Overcomplicating the message. Too much detail for the board or not enough for the team? The key is to consider what your audience needs to know, when they need to know it, and what they might be doing with that information. I really try not to use jargon or acronyms that people not close to the project won't know. As boring as it is to write requirements traceability matrix rather than RTM, you should pick your audience for the shorthand, neglecting feedback loops. So failing to check understanding, especially with stakeholders who might not speak up in the room, but who will definitely have questions in the corridors. At the project layer, this is ensuring that you've got the time at the end of each call or meeting to recap steps and who's doing what. I found that things like videos and recordings are super helpful here. And we've played around a bit with AI in terms of summarizing meetings, but honestly, when I take notes myself, there's a connection between my brain and the page that helps me to remember off the top of my head. If you can't be in every meeting, AI tools can be incredibly helpful, keeping us in the loop about what happened in a meeting. As a PM, I don't always get to present to the higher ups. It's often the project sponsor who shares progress with the board, ensuring that as the project manager, you have a solid, open understanding with your project sponsor means you're more likely to get clear and honest feedback from board sessions. So for your next project, maybe draft a simple table with each layer, their communication and information needs, maybe their preferred channels and feedback mechanisms. Review it with your sponsor, and your project team. and keep it as up to date as you can as the project evolves. In conclusion, if there's one thing to remember, it's this. Momentum is greatly improved by clear communication at every layer: team, stakeholder, and sponsor. When you tailor your communication and listen attentively, keep the right people in the loop, you build trust and keep things moving. If you want to put this into practice, I've put together a communication workbook that's available in the show notes. If you do use it to map out your project's communication, please let me know how that goes. And if you're keen to build your influence as a project manager, join me next time for some practical strategies for overcoming resistance. Until then, keep your projects moving, keep your people engaged, and remember, clarity beats chaos every time.